When we talk about compound interest, it might be helpful to think of the word compound as to repeat, to do something over again. And what we are doing over again with compound interest is repeating the simple interest formula. For example, in our discussion in video 2 that we typed up, interest equals principal times rate times time. And so we took this fixed amount of $100, multiplied it times the 5% for the rate, times 10 years, and earned $50 in interest. And then if we added that to the original amount we started with, which we refer to as the maturity value, then we end up with 100 plus 50 equals $150 at the end of 10 years. And so what we did is we took just that principal amount and multiplied it times the rate times 10 years. But what if instead of doing that, we did this formula once a year for 10 years? So we do it 10 times rather than just one time. What if we take the 100 times the 0.05 times 1 year, which would equal $5, and so then we would end up at the end of the first year with $105, and then we take that $105 and do the formula again, 105 times 0.05 times 1. And so then it would give us a little bit more than $5. And then the next year we do it again. And so we just keep doing it over and over again using the simple interest formula. And that is known as compounding your principal amount of money, and thus earning compound interest because you are earning interest on the previous interest that you had already earned. So it's kind of a reverse of what was happening with our auto loans and our home loans. So this time, instead of decreasing our payment, it's going to increase the amount of money that we are earning through our investment or our savings account. Let's see how this might work. So we'll continue with this same example. of the $100, and we will put it into this compound formula. And first we'll start off with an annual amount, doing it just so we can see an example of how the number of compounding periods can change the amount of money that we end up with at the end of that period. So annually is going to be one time a year. So here's how we do it. We're just going to use this formula, but make sure that we use the appropriate formatting within Excel to get the desired outcome. We need the principal amount. In this case it was 100. And then we need to multiply it times this section here in parentheses. So times parenthesis 1 plus, now this rate divided by the number of times that it's compounded also needs to be in parentheses to make sure that we follow the order of operations and that R divided by N takes place before anything else within the parentheses and outside of the parentheses. So we need to put another parenthesis there, and then type in the rate, which is 5%, divided by the number of times interest is compounded per year. And in this case, because we're compounding annually, that is just one time. And then we need to enclose that operation within a parenthesis. And then we have the exponent. And we format this as we learned about in video 1. So we have the number of times compounded per year times the number of years. So we'll use our caret to raise that to a power, parenthesis, and we're going to have the number of times it's compounded, which is 1, times the number of years, which in our example is 10 years. So we end up with a total amount of $162.89. Let's try it twice a year and see what we get. Same formula, equal sign. Principal amount is 100 times 1 plus the rate of 0.05 divided by, now the number of times that we're compounding. It's changing. Biannual is twice a year, so we need to put a 2 here. And once again, enclose all of that within parentheses, raise it to a power of number of times per year, n, which is 2, times the 10 years. And let's see how that compares. So we're taking the same amount of money, but compounding it 2 times over the same period of time, which is the 10 years. And you can see we end up with just a little bit more, about $1 more. So for the rest of this video, go ahead and do it quarterly, monthly, applying the compound interest formula, and then have me come by and take a look at those. And if you want, you can also just decrease the decimal places on these. And you can add a $sign if you like. And that will conclude video 3 on how to apply the compound interest formula.